What if I told you that deep within the Amazon rainforest, hidden for centuries, lies a city so extraordinary that it has challenged the imagination of explorers and scientists alike? Picture this, a lost civilization, so advanced that it would defy everything we know about the history of the Amazon, a metropolis that remained concealed beneath the dense canopy, waiting to be discovered. Welcome to the incredible saga of the lost city of Z. The very mention of it conjures images of golden temples, intricate stone structures, and a society that thrived in one of Earth's most unforgiving environments. A place where reality and legend blur into something that feels almost mythical, yet tantalizing in its possibility. Our story begins in the early 20th century, when the world still held secrets in its most remote corners. Before satellites mapped every inch of our planet, before technology stripped away the mystery of unexplored territories. It was an era when blank spaces on maps still whispered promises of discovery. In this age of daring exploration, one name would forever be etched in the pursuit of this mysterious treasure: Percy Fawcett. A British colonel turned explorer, Fawcett was no ordinary adventurer. He was methodical, determined, and possessed an almost supernatural resilience to the jungle's perils. While others fell victim to disease, hostile tribes, and the merciless conditions of the Amazon, Fawcett seemed to thrive. The rainforest that broke so many others only strengthened his resolve. What drove this man to venture repeatedly into one of the most dangerous environments on Earth? It wasn't just glory or scientific curiosity. No, Fawcett was chasing something far more compelling, evidence of an ancient civilization that, according to his research, rivaled or even surpassed the great empires of South America. Fawcett didn't come to this quest by chance. During his expeditions mapping the Bolivian-Brazilian border, he collected numerous artifacts and heard tales from indigenous tribes about ancient cities hidden in the jungle. In the archives of Rio de Janeiro and London, he found colonial Portuguese accounts describing enormous settlements deep within the Amazon, places that shouldn't have existed according to conventional historical understanding. The scientific community largely dismissed these stories as fantasy or exaggeration. After all, how could an advanced civilization develop in the thin soils of the rainforest? The Amazon was viewed as a counterfeit paradise, lush but ultimately unable to support large, complex societies. But Fawcett knew something others didn't, or at least he believed he did. If you love history and want to unravel the mysteries of great empires like this video, subscribe to the Dawn of Humankind channel and don't miss a single episode of our journey through humanity's greatest enigmas. Percy Fawcett was far from your typical explorer. While others sought fame or fortune, Fawcett was driven by something far more profound, an unshakable belief that the Amazon concealed secrets that would rewrite human history. Born in 1867 to a family with connections to the Royal Geographical Society, Fawcett seemed destined for adventure. But what truly set him apart was his extraordinary resilience in environments that broke other men. Where fellow explorers succumbed to tropical diseases, insect plagues, and the crushing psychological weight of the jungle, Fawcett appeared almost supernaturally adapted to the rainforest's challenges. His expeditions between 1906 and 1925 weren't merely journeys of discovery. They were meticulously planned missions fueled by growing obsession. Each time Fawcett returned from the Amazon, he brought back not just specimens and maps, but an ever-deepening conviction that something remarkable awaited discovery. What's truly fascinating is how Fawcett conducted himself in the jungle. Unlike many colonial explorers of his era who relied on force and intimidation, Fawcett developed unusually respectful relationships with indigenous tribes. He learned their languages, respected their customs, and often traveled with minimal armed protection. A radical approach in an age when most expeditions resembled military operations. This approach saved his life countless times. During one expedition, Fawcett's party encountered a hostile tribe. While his companions reached for weapons, Fawcett calmly sat down and began playing music on a small accordion he carried. The tribesmen, fascinated by this strange behavior, ultimately welcomed rather than attacked the explorers. But what exactly was Fawcett searching for with such determination? He called it simply Zed, a lost city that he believed would prove the Amazon once hosted a civilization of astonishing sophistication. Here's something remarkable about Fawcett's vision. He didn't just believe Z was some minor settlement. In his journals and letters, Fawcett expressed his conviction that the lost city of Z represented a civilization more advanced than the Aztec and Inca empires combined. This was an absolutely revolutionary claim in the early 20th century, when most scholars considered the Amazon rainforest incapable of supporting large, complex societies. Imagine the audacity of suggesting that somewhere in the unmapped jungle lay the remains of a civilization that might rival or surpass the builders of Machu Picchu or Tenochtitlan. This wasn't just archaeological speculation. It was heresy against the established understanding of pre-Columbian America. Fawcett's belief wasn't entirely unfounded. During his military service mapping boundaries in Bolivia, he recovered strange artifacts from the jungle, ancient pottery with sophisticated designs, fragments of stonework that shouldn't have existed in a region supposedly populated only by small, nomadic tribes. These discoveries, combined with centuries-old Portuguese accounts and indigenous legends, fueled his growing certainty. The central place I call Zed, our main objective, is in a valley, about 10 miles wide, and the city is on an eminence in the middle of it, approached by a barreled roadway of stone, Fawcett wrote in one of his last letters. The houses are low and windowless, and there is a pyramidal temple. What makes Fawcett's quest even more compelling is that modern archaeology has since validated aspects of his radical theories. Today, we know the Amazon indeed hosted sophisticated societies capable of reshaping their environment on massive scales, something the scientific community of Fawcett's time considered impossible. The year 1925 marked the beginning of one of exploration's greatest mysteries. As the world was becoming increasingly mapped and catalogued, Percy Fawcett prepared for what he believed would be his crowning achievement, the expedition that would finally reveal the lost city of Z to a doubting world. This was no impulsive adventure. Fawcett had spent years meticulously planning what he called his definitive expedition. He was now 58 years old, an age when most explorers had long since retired to comfortable lecture circuits and writing memoirs. But the call of Z grew only stronger with time. What's particularly poignant about this final journey is who Fawcett chose as companions. Unlike previous expeditions with seasoned explorers, Fawcett brought his eldest son, Jack, then 22 years old. Jack shared his father's fascination with adventure, but lacked his experience in the unforgiving Amazon. The third member of their small party was Jack's childhood friend, Raleigh Reimel, who had virtually no wilderness experience at all. Friends and colleagues warned Fawcett against such a small team. Previous expeditions had included dozens of porters and armed guards. But Fawcett had developed a controversial theory. Smaller groups could move faster and draw less unwanted attention from potentially hostile tribes. A large expedition, he wrote before departing, is more vulnerable to native attack, to disease, and to the failure of supplies. On April 8, 1925, the three men ventured into the Mato Grosso region of Brazil. Their intended route would take them through territories controlled by tribes known for their hostility to outsiders. Some were rumored to practice cannibalism. Yet Fawcett remained confident in his ability to navigate these dangers as he had so many times before. The last confirmed sighting of the expedition came on May 29th, when they crossed the Xingu River. Fawcett sent a final letter to his wife Nina, writing with unmistakable optimism, "You need have no fear of failure." He signed off with what would become hauntingly prophetic words, "We shall return." They never did. Weeks turned to months with no word from the expedition. The silence was especially alarming because Fawcett had arranged to send periodic messages by native runners. When 1926 arrived with no sign of the three men, the first rescue expeditions began to form. What followed was an extraordinary chain of tragedy that claimed more lives than the original expedition itself. Over the next decade, an estimated 100 people died in various attempts to discover what happened to Fawcett and his companions. The Amazon seemed to jealously guard its secrets, claiming life after life of those who sought answers. One such expedition, led by American explorer Albert de Winton, vanished entirely. 13 men gone without a trace. Brazilian explorer Commander George Diet mounted an elaborate rescue mission in 1928, only to barely escape with his life after his team was decimated by disease and attacks from indigenous tribes. The Fawcett mystery spawned a cottage industry of theories. Some claimed he had been killed by tribes, others that he had lost his mind and gone native, establishing himself as a god-king among an isolated tribe. One particularly persistent rumor suggested that Fawcett had never intended to return at all, that his expedition was actually a cover for establishing a mystical commune in the jungle where he and his son would practice esoteric rituals. In 1951, Orlando Villas-Boas, a famed Brazilian explorer who had gained unprecedented trust among Amazonian tribes, reported a conversation with members of the Kalapalo tribe. They described killing 3 foreigners decades earlier, a white-bearded older man and 2 younger men, who matched the descriptions of Fawcett's party. According to their account, the explorers had ignored warnings not to continue eastward into the territory of hostile tribes. Perhaps most heartbreaking was the effect on Nina Fawcett, Percy's wife. For decades, she refused to believe her husband and son were dead, clinging to hope and spending the family's remaining savings on psychics and mediums who claimed they could contact the missing explorers. Until her death in 1954, she maintained that someday her husband would emerge from the jungle with extraordinary tales. The tragedy of Fawcett's final expedition wasn't just the loss of 3 lives, but how their disappearance seemed to intensify rather than diminish the myth of Z. Each failed rescue attempt, each new theory about their fate, only deepened the Amazon's reputation as a place of both wonder and terror, a green hell that consumed those who dared seek its deepest secrets. For decades, the lost city of Z was dismissed as nothing more than a feverish dream born in the mind of Percy Fawcett. Mainstream archaeology scoffed at the idea of advanced civilizations thriving in the unforgiving Amazon rainforest. But what if Fawcett was right all along? Modern archaeologists have unearthed compelling evidence that suggests the existence of complex societies hidden beneath the dense Amazonian canopy. These aren't just small tribal settlements, but the remnants of sophisticated urban centers that may have housed thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of people. When you walk through certain parts of the Amazon today, your feet might be treading upon ancient earthworks that once formed the foundation of grand plazas and ceremonial centers. These massive earthworks, some stretching for miles, were meticulously engineered with precise geometric patterns that would have required advanced mathematical knowledge and organized labor forces to construct. In the 1970s, researchers began documenting extensive networks of raised fields and irrigation canals throughout the Amazon basin. These agricultural systems were ingeniously designed to manage water flow during both flood and drought seasons, a testament to the environmental wisdom of these forgotten peoples. Perhaps most intriguing are the discoveries of terra preta, or black earth. And this incredibly fertile, human-made soil still enriches the Amazon today, thousands of years after its creation. Think about that for a moment. These ancient Amazonians didn't just adapt to their environment, They transformed it, creating a sustainable agricultural system that modern science is still trying to fully understand. Pottery fragments tell us stories of artistic sophistication, while stone tools and ceremonial objects reveal complex cultural and religious practices. Carbon dating places many of these artifacts between the years 800 and 1400 after Christ, suggesting these advanced societies flourished during Europe's Middle Ages. In 2006, satellite imagery revealed something extraordinary: massive geometric patterns etched into the earth, hidden beneath the rainforest. When the trees are cleared, these perfect circles, squares, and intricate designs become visible. Ancient fingerprints left by a civilization that understood geometry and had the organizational capacity to alter the landscape on a massive scale. What makes these discoveries so revolutionary is how they've completely upended our understanding of what was possible in the Amazon. For centuries, Western scientists believed the rainforest environment was too harsh, the soil too poor to support large, permanent settlements. Yet the evidence now suggests the Amazon may have been home to societies as complex in their own way as those of the Aztecs or Maya. The question that haunts archaeologists today is one that would have thrilled Percy Fawcett. If these civilizations existed throughout the Amazon, might there indeed be a central great city, a Zed, waiting to be discovered? A metropolis that served as the heart of a vast network of settlements connected by roads and waterways. Each year, new expeditions venture deeper into the Amazon, armed with cutting-edge technology that Percy Fawcett could only have dreamed of. Ground-penetrating radar, aerial LiDAR surveys, and sophisticated satellite imaging are peeling back the green veil of the rainforest, revealing tantalizing glimpses of what lies beneath. The search continues, but one thing is becoming increasingly clear: the Amazon holds secrets far grander than we ever imagined. Percy Fawcett's vision of an advanced civilization in the heart of the jungle may not have been the delusion of a madman after all, but the intuition of a visionary who glimpsed a truth that science is only now beginning to understand. What if I told you that technology we developed to map the surface of Mars is now helping us uncover secrets hidden right here on Earth? The quest for the lost city of Z has entered a new era, one where science fiction has become scientific reality. Enter LiDAR, which stands for light detection and ranging. This revolutionary technology works like this. From aircraft flying above the rainforest, millions of laser pulses pierce through the dense canopy, bouncing off the ground below and returning to create astonishingly detailed three-dimensional maps of what lies beneath the vegetation. What would take explorers months or years to survey on foot can now be mapped in just hours. The results have been nothing short of breathtaking. In 2016, researchers using LiDAR in Guatemala revealed over 60,000 previously unknown Maya structures hidden beneath the jungle. An entire civilization, more vast and complex than anyone had imagined, brought to light after centuries of concealment. Now, these same technologies are being turned to the Amazon, and what they're revealing is rewriting history books. In areas once thought to be pristine wilderness, LiDAR has exposed vast networks of ancient settlements connected by perfectly straight roads stretching for miles. Geometric earthworks, some as large as football fields, emerge from the digital mapping like ghosts from the past. One particularly fascinating discovery came in 2018, when scientists identified more than 80 previously unknown settlements in the southern Amazon. These weren't simple villages, but complex urban centers with defensive walls, plazas, and sophisticated water management systems. Some archaeologists estimate they may have supported populations in the tens of thousands. The technology is so precise it can detect changes in elevation as small as a few inches. This means ancient agricultural fields, building foundations, and ceremonial sites that are invisible to the naked eye suddenly appear in stark relief when viewed through LiDAR. What makes this technology so revolutionary for Amazonian archaeology is that it overcomes the jungle's greatest defense, its ability to quickly reclaim and hide human constructions. Percy Fawcett might have walked within yards of monumental structures without ever seeing them, completely obscured by centuries of rampant vegetation. There's something poetic about the fact that it took humanity's most advanced technology to finally begin understanding some of our oldest mysteries. Satellites orbiting hundreds of miles above Earth can now detect subtle changes in vegetation that indicate ancient human activity. Ground-penetrating radar allows researchers to see structures buried beneath meters of soil without lifting a shovel. Perhaps most exciting is that we've only just begun applying these technologies to the Amazon. Less than 10% of the rainforest has been surveyed with these advanced methods. What else might be waiting to be discovered? Could Percy Fawcett's fabled city of Z still be out there, hidden under the emerald canopy, waiting for the right technology to finally reveal its secrets? Every year, the search area narrows. Every survey brings us closer to solving this century-old mystery. We stand on the threshold of potentially one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time. Incredible, isn't it? Do you believe a lost city could really exist in the heart of the Amazon? What do you think happened to Percy Fawcett and his expedition? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating explorations of the unknown. Throughout history, we've often made the grave mistake of dismissing indigenous knowledge as mere folklore or superstition. But what if the legends passed down through generations of Amazonian tribes contain actual historical truths that Western explorers are only now beginning to understand? When Percy Fawcett ventured into the Amazon in the early 20th century, he didn't rely solely on maps and compasses. He listened intently to the stories told by indigenous guides and villagers. Stories of a great city of stone, hidden deep within the forest, where a powerful civilization once thrived. These weren't just campfire tales to entertain visitors, they were oral histories, preserved and transmitted across centuries. The Kwikuro people, descendants of what archaeologists now call the Xingu civilization, speak of their ancestors living in massive settlements connected by wide roads. They describe elaborate ceremonies held in vast plazas and tell of wars fought between rival cities. For generations, outsiders dismissed these as exaggerations or myths. Yet modern archaeology has confirmed the existence of precisely such settlements in the very regions the Kwikuro described. One fascinating legend shared among several Amazonian tribes tells of a city with walls that gleamed like gold in the sunlight. Western explorers interpreted this literally, imagining a city made of precious metal, fueling the El Dorado myth. But indigenous elders explain that traditional techniques for treating clay with certain minerals could indeed create structures that shimmered brilliantly when struck by dawn light. A more plausible explanation that still captures the wonder described in the legends. Perhaps most compelling are the stories of a great civilization destroyed by conflict and disease. Many tribes tell of a time when the sky darkened and people fell ill, which some anthropologists now believe may describe the devastating impact of European diseases that swept through the Americas after 1492, often traveling faster than the European explorers themselves. The Kalapalo people of central Brazil maintain legends of a powerful tribe called the ancestors of the stone houses. They describe these ancestors as master builders who constructed magnificent structures before disappearing from the land. For centuries, no physical evidence supported these stories. Then, in 2018, archaeologists discovered the remnants of numerous stone structures in the exact region the Kalapalo had indicated. There's something profoundly humbling about realizing that knowledge we've only recently confirmed through satellite technology and ground-penetrating radar has been preserved in indigenous oral traditions all along. Stories that were once documented by anthropologists with skeptical footnotes are now being verified by archaeological evidence. I find it particularly moving to consider how many explorers, convinced of their superior knowledge, may have walked right past crucial clues because they failed to truly listen to the keepers of these ancient memories. How many secrets might still be hidden in plain sight, preserved not in written texts, but in stories carefully passed from elder to child across countless generations? Some indigenous communities are now working directly with archaeologists, comparing their ancestral knowledge with scientific findings. This collaboration represents a powerful merging of different ways of knowing, traditional wisdom and modern science coming together to uncover truths about our shared human past. So perhaps the key to finding the lost city of Z has been with us all along, encoded in legends and stories that were never just myths, but living historical records waiting for us to learn how to properly listen. The answer to one of archaeology's greatest mysteries might not be buried under soil and vegetation, but hidden in plain sight in the words of the forest's oldest inhabitants. In the pantheon of great explorers, few names evoke the same sense of mystery and adventure as Percy Fawcett. Whether or not he ever found his fabled city of Z, Fawcett left behind something perhaps more valuable, a legacy that continues to inspire dreamers, adventurers, and scientists nearly a century after his disappearance. When Fawcett vanished into the emerald depths of the Amazon in 1925, he unwittingly transformed himself from a man into a legend. Think about it. How many explorers have inspired dozens of rescue missions, countless books, major Hollywood films, and generations of subsequent expeditions? The man who sought to discover a lost civilization instead became something of a mythic figure himself. What made Fawcett so extraordinary wasn't just his courage, though he had that in abundance. It was his unique combination of scientific rigor and romantic imagination. At a time when most Western explorers viewed indigenous peoples with dismissive condescension, Fawcett listened to their stories with genuine respect. He studied ancient manuscripts others ignored and connected dots that conventional archaeologists couldn't or wouldn't see. Here's a fascinating detail most people don't know. Fawcett was remarkably successful in his earlier expeditions. Before his final journey, he had surveyed and mapped vast regions of the Amazon previously unknown to the outside world. He survived encounters with hostile tribes, deadly animals, and tropical diseases that claimed the lives of many of his contemporaries. The Royal Geographical Society awarded him its gold medal, recognizing him as one of the preeminent explorers of his age. His meticulous journals, portions of which were later published by his son Brian, reveal a man far more complex than the caricature of the obsessed explorer. Fawcett wrote eloquently about the biodiversity of the Amazon, documented hundreds of plant and animal species, and advocated for the preservation of indigenous cultures at a time when such views were revolutionary. Perhaps most importantly, Fawcett's vision of the Amazon as home to sophisticated ancient civilizations, a view that earned him ridicule from the scientific establishment of his day, has been largely vindicated by modern archaeology. The green hell that experts once claimed could never support large human populations is now understood to have been home to complex societies with advanced agricultural systems, urban centers, and rich cultural traditions. The search for Fawcett himself has become nearly as compelling as his original quest. Over the decades, more than 100 people have died while trying to discover what happened to the explorer and his companions. In 1928, a nameplate from Fawcett's expedition was reportedly found in the possession of an indigenous tribe. In the 1950s, bones alleged to be Fawcett's were recovered, though later analysis disproved this claim. As recently as 2005, a documentary filmmaker claimed to have found evidence that Fawcett had lived out his days as the revered chief of an isolated tribe. Whether any of these claims are true is perhaps less important than what they represent, our enduring fascination with both the man and his vision. In an age when it seems every corner of our planet has been explored, mapped, and catalogued, Fawcett reminds us that mystery and wonder still exist in our world. His legacy lives on in the work of modern archaeologists using cutting-edge technology to uncover the very civilizations he believed existed. It continues in conservation efforts to protect the Amazon rainforest, inspired in part by his vivid descriptions of its irreplaceable wonders, and it persists in our collective imagination, this romantic notion that somewhere deep in the world's largest jungle, extraordinary discoveries still await the brave and the visionary. Percy Fawcett may have vanished into the Amazon, but in a very real sense, he never truly disappeared. His spirit of adventure, his intellectual curiosity, and his willingness to challenge conventional wisdom continue to inspire explorers, scientists, and dreamers around the world. Perhaps that, more than any physical discovery, is the true city of Z. Not a place of stone and gold, but a testament to the enduring power of human imagination and the courage to pursue the unknown. As our journey through the mystery of the lost city of Z comes to a close, we're left standing at the edge of possibility, peering into the green abyss of the Amazon with the same wonder that must have filled Percy Fawcett's heart a century ago. The city of Z remains one of humanity's most tantalizing enigmas. Is it reality or myth? Perhaps it's something in between, a truth embellished by time and telling, or a legend rooted in historical fact. What we do know is that with each passing year, each new archaeological discovery, the line between fantasy and reality grows ever more blurred. Consider this. The Amazon rainforest covers more than 2 million square miles. That's an area larger than all of Western Europe. Within this vast emerald labyrinth, countless secrets remain hidden, protected by impenetrable vegetation, treacherous terrain, and the relentless march of nature reclaiming what humans once built. Even with our modern technology, our satellites, drones, and laser mapping, we've surveyed less than a fraction of what lies beneath the canopy. Just imagine what might still be waiting to be discovered. Ancient temples where priests once performed elaborate ceremonies under long-forgotten stars. Vast plazas where thousands gathered for celebrations and rituals. Libraries of knowledge recorded not on paper that would rot in the humid air, but perhaps carved in stone or preserved in ways we haven't yet understood. And what of the people who built these civilizations? What wisdom might they have possessed that could enlighten our modern world? What sustainable techniques did they develop to thrive in harmony with one of Earth's most complex ecosystems? The answers to these questions might not just satisfy our curiosity, they could help us address some of the most pressing challenges of our time. The story of the lost city of Z reminds us of something essential about the human spirit. We are, at our core, explorers and seekers of truth. From the first humans who ventured out of Africa to the astronauts who now journey to the stars, we have always been driven to push beyond the boundaries of the known world, to discover what lies just over the horizon. Percy Fawcett may have disappeared into the Amazon, but the flame he carried, that insatiable curiosity, that hunger for discovery, continues to burn in the hearts of archaeologists, scientists, and adventurers who carry on his work today. And perhaps, just perhaps, someone watching this video right now will be inspired to join that quest, to help reveal the mysteries that still lie hidden in the heart of the Amazon. The lost city of Z may be found tomorrow, or it may remain elusive for another century, but the search itself, the journey of discovery, the piecing together of clues, the gradual unveiling of ancient truths, is a testament to the enduring wonder of our world and the indomitable human spirit that seeks to understand it. If this exploration into one of history's greatest mysteries has captured your imagination, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the dawn of humankind. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our upcoming adventures into the greatest enigmas of human history. From ancient civilizations to unexplained archaeological wonders, we're just getting started on our journey to uncover the secrets of our collective past. And remember, sometimes the greatest discoveries begin with simply asking questions that others were afraid to ask, and looking in places where others were unwilling to venture. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep wondering about the extraordinary world we share.